My name is Nguyễn Quý Đức. I grew up in Vietnam and I left at the end of the war in 1975, and most people think of me as a writer or a former journalist, but really in my adult life I've been a nomad, not necessarily looking for food or shelter, but looking for myself. I love to go to the Temple of Literature in Hanoi because it's a quiet place here. It's a beautiful garden. I probably think of writing as the most important part of my life. I write pretty much every day, even a line of poetry. I think it's a complete luxury to have a time in a modern society to sit and think of a word. I always like this line from an epic poem. The line has to do with being led by the devil and by ghosts and choosing once again to go on a path to pain. And I do that a lot with my life. Falling in love with the wrong person, choosing the wrong profession at times, and in spite of myself, making the wrong choices. I started Tradiotto as a bar and art space in Hanoi with a gallery, but it became unmanageable. I was never asleep, I was drinking too much. But I joke about it as a place for thinkers and drinkers. I think the focus is on the drinkers. Sometimes I sit with my friends, we joke, well, why wouldn't I get born as a son of a Swiss banker? But I'm born in Vietnam during a war. My father was captured by the communist soldiers when I was 10 for 12 years in prison. I ended up living inside his library, which was full of books of poetry. So I've had that love for poetry since I was a child. In the past, I've been able to organize a lot more poetry readings or musical events and art events so that people can slow down, think about what's happening to the city, to the country, and to reflect on our history. It's an amazing history of warfare and changes and revolution and growth. And so hopefully the bar is a place to sit down and slow down. At the edge of Hanoi, near the Dyke Road, there's a flower market. Sometimes at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, coming out of the bar, I go there and I buy flowers. They're not expensive, but it's such a joy. I'll come there, see the people, and sit with them, and get away from the image that Hanoi likes to project sometimes now with the big shopping malls, the high-rise buildings, the condos, the big cars. To go there and see the roots of the farming community, and they work through the mud and the rain to bring joy to people, to bring flowers and beauty to people. The same thing with the fruit market. It's just amazing to drive by there at night at 2 in the morning and see the hundreds of people pushing things through carts and trucks and everything, buying and selling.
It comes from the countryside, and then people from all over Vietnam will come and buy stuff from here.
The thing that's most exciting about Hanoi for me is the amount of energy that people have here. You walk down the street, there are 1,000 motorcycles rushing by. There's always somebody working, doing something. People try here. It's an assistance to me on hope that no matter what the country's gone through, whatever regime, whatever government, whatever barriers to progress or to growth, people try. Brick by brick, dream by dream, they build a life for themselves. That to me is the energy of Hanoi beyond what most people see in the urban areas.
My name is Trâm Vũ. I'm a co-founder of Manzi Art Space, an independent art space in Hanoi. Manzi, the location also is quite special too. Actually, the street, very short street, on the shortest street in Hanoi, and it's hidden. The funny street hasn't changed that much since 1986 when Vietnam opened up to the world. You can see the old houses still here. It's still very quiet, peaceful, beautiful, and the people here in that area, how to say, their own fans, they very supportive. Everything we do it here, the neighbors support us. So we found really lucky to be here. I was born in Hanoi and grew up here in a kind of gypsy artist family. My father is a visual artist, have a very beautiful childhood. My father's friend got together all the time at home, talk about life, about the art, and also about the political situation here in Vietnam at that time. So I think that influenced me a lot. Contemporary art is very important. It reflects the current society, and also it's fresh, it's lively, and it brings a real life to the work. And people need to appreciate that. We try to keep balance between young contemporary emerging artists and established Vietnamese artists. Here's on the top of the wall, there's a work by Nguyễn Mạnh Hùng. He's one of the most important contemporary artists of Vietnam. For some artists that we love, we approach them and ask them to send the work, or we visit their studio to see the work, and we choose the work from that. We are in the studio of Phạm Khắc Quang, one of the best printmaking artists in Vietnam, and now he's doing or experimenting with a new series of work, which I haven't seen before, and really interesting me. So now it will be the series of portrait in portraits. As you can see here, there's a portrait of his grandfather who passed away a few months ago, and Quang wanted to do the series of his portrait using the rubber stamp. He divided the portrait into different pieces, into different layers. So each layer will have a special mark for that. So whenever he put a stamp on that big canvas or big paper, he have to mark it there to make sure that he will not repeat it. Well, that's the first layer only. He just finished the first layer. We need 2 more layers. And each small portrait in that big portrait have to look like that, with the 3 layers on. You can see all the shadow and all the feeling on the face. He experimented with the Buddha, but again, using the handmade stamp, and he said that he doesn't know it will work or not. At least now he tried, and he wants to do new thing, keep continue experimented the work, and that make him happy. That could be enough. Even he's not so sure about how the reaction for the audience or any future show at all. First thing, just do it for himself and do it for the one he loves. With a lot of artists, they keep repeating themselves all the time, and he is one of the rare ones who decided to be challenged himself, doing the new thing. The appreciation of art, I think, changed people's life. We cannot deny the power of art in every single art form. The music can change your mind after you seeing a concert. A great painting would make you think more about your life. The world without art is not a living world. As Vietnamese, you have to promote the thing from the country. My personal passion, that I want to do something good for the country, and also I love the art here.
Behind a million smiles, silently and reliably, Kirloskar, enriching lives.
There is a reason Africa is called the new frontier. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth lies in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
CNN Money, your new destination for business news. On TV, online, on the go.
My name is Guok Jum. I'm a musician and music producer. I was born and raised in Hanoi, and I started playing piano with professional groups at the age of 15 years old. I need my music to have a direct link to my roots and to who I am as a human being. Although I really like modern Western music, I always lean towards Asian elements and traditional sounds in my work. Because of this, my music is a blend of Western and modern elements, but there's always a Vietnamese soul in it. I feel especially connected with the season of autumn in Hanoi. Because of this, my music often has a gentle and soothing feeling. It's not too intense, like the summertime. That's why, when I organize the Monsoon Music Festival, I choose to do it during the autumn. It's Hanoi's most beautiful season. This is the Duan Mon Gate of the Thang Lom Citadel. This area has existed for the last 13 centuries, where it served as the royal palace of Vietnam's emperors. In recent years, Hanoi has developed a lot, with many concerts and shows. The first feeling I had when I saw the Citadel grounds filled with people, it was honestly one of the happiest moments of my music career. I felt that I realized my dream and that I was able to bring joy to many people. On rainy days, Hanoi seems more somber, but nowadays the crowded buzz does not stop, even when it rains. For me as an artist, rainy days seem more romantic. When I think about a music festival, we were looking for a name that represented Hanoi and that was also distinctive. So we thought the word monsoon because it's held during the season of the monsoon when the winds arrive. I hope that it's a season when the winds can bring a change in music as well as in life. Since I was a student, I really liked visiting West Lake. Back in the day, I often went boating on West Lake, and after Hanoi started getting more developed, many hotels and high-rises were constructed here. One of my favorite things to do is to go up to the summit bar and overlook all of West Lake. Every angle and corner of the lake is romantic. It is very beautiful. When I think of Hanoi, I will always think of West Lake. Just like my home, it has many memories for me.
And I'm the founder of Haute Culture Fashion Blog and also Textile Tours. been living in Vietnam for the past 4 years. Hoang Kim Lake is an important focal point in Hanoi, and that's what makes Hanoi a really nice city to live in, actually, because you get the space from the lake. So although it's very densely packed and it's like very intense at times, because you're always never too far away from a lake to kind of take a seat and have a little walk around and just kind of breathe in the space. Yeah. I came to the Vietnamese Women's Museum for the first time probably within like the first 3 months of me getting to Hanoi. I think I've been here maybe about 7 or 8 times at least, maybe more. It's all about women in Vietnam and how women are really held up in society as like being the backbone of Vietnamese culture. We've got an outfit here by the Lao people. They do the design from the back of the cloth, so they weave the design without being able to actually see it. So this is a really amazing technique, a very complicated, very sophisticated technique. This is the traditional Vietnamese kin áo dài. Vietnamese women still wear this a lot. You're completely covered up, something very elegant about it and very like classically beautiful about wearing an áo dài. It's really, yeah, you feel really, really feminine and lovely when you wear one. Now we're going to Hang Bo Street. It's one of my favourite streets in Vietnam. Okay. Hanoi is made up of lots of different streets which specialise in very specific things, and this street is focused on sewing equipment and sewing materials. Yeah. So we can get everything there from ribbons, beads, scissors, sewing threads, knitting needles, and it's just a whole street just filled with like colourful and exciting equipment for anyone that's passionate about textiles. They're going to be really pleased with this. I think Hanoi is a very special city. It still retains a lot of its authenticity, even though it balances out with like kind of contemporary and modern developments as well. Vietnamese people are very true to themselves, and the culture is still very strong. And so I think Hanoi is a really special city.
I fell in love with the culture and heritage of Hanoi. It has 4 UNESCO World Heritage Awards, but what's really incredible about it is the mix of this 1,000-year-old historic town and a new modern city. There's a wealth of nostalgia in Hanoi's old quarter. You can enjoy peace at Hoang Kim Lake and discover history at the Imperial Citadel. It's my gateway to the rest of Vietnam. Hanoi, the cradle of heritage.
Visionscape, innovative solutions, transforming cities.
My name is Mark Lowison, and I've been living in Hanoi for nearly 16 years.
My name is Van Kong Tu, and I'm from Nha Trang. But I've been living in Hanoi for the last 15.5 years.
Tu and I run a street food tour business together, which evolved out of a couple of blogs that we've been writing for upwards of 12 years. My blog's called Sticky Rice.
Em cho anh 2 bát. Lẫn nha. So for this fish noodle soup, They have two types of fish, dry fish and steamed fish. And they have a mustard leaf, and they have dill. They have spring onions, and sometimes they add bean sprouts. But when we eat, we usually add a little bit of vinegar and garlic, a little bit chilies, and if you like a little bit sour, you can add a little bit, you can squeeze a little bit of lime in the bowl. And of course, the big part about food is green vegetables.
Well, everybody has their own habits in terms of which condiments they will choose. It's very normal for, I mean, sometimes when you eat in the West, you get in trouble for using the salt. It's like an insult to the chef, but here you are expected to use the condiments on the table. One of the essential principles of the cuisine is achieving your own personal balance of salty, sour, sweet and spicy.
Our country is just a long tropical country, so the food is a little bit different too. You can take a little bit sweeter from the south, and the central, I think, kind of spicier a little bit. For me, I prefer the northern cuisine, plus my mum from the north. So I eat northern dishes kind of every day since I grow up.
When you eat street food in Vietnam, you tend to eat it quickly. The culture or the etiquette is to eat it quickly and then make way for the next customers, and then you can go and sit in a coffee shop and have a conversation and sit for as long as you like. Yeah. This coffee shop's been running since 1936, so it's kind of an iconic. So everybody kind of knows the name Cafe Zui Chi, but because it's such a narrow space and it's tiny, not everybody knows how to find it.
I know that one. I stir as well to make a little bit of bubbles on the top. People around the world don't know about Vietnamese coffee. They know about other countries, but except Vietnam. But we're getting popular and more popular about our coffee, especially white coffee. And I think it tastes a little bit like coffee ice cream, very refreshing. When we make the coffee, we add a little bit cacao when we roast it, so that's why when you drink the coffee, it tastes a little bit chocolatey flavors, which is very nice.
The style of serving coffee is completely different. The way they brew it is it's a slow drip filtration kind of thing rather than going through a machine. It may take some getting used to for some people, but it's, you know, you get a strong cup of coffee in Vietnam. It goes really nicely with ice in this climate. You've just sort of got to give in to the different style, I think.
When you eat on the street, they only special one or two dishes and they make the best of it. Most of the time you are happy with the dish you will order and you don't need to worry what else you have to add. Just go in, point the hands, point the fingers, and it works very well, yeah.
Yeah, the mystery is taken away, really, because you don't have to actually navigate a menu. If you sit down, they know why you're there, to have their dish. When you're eating in local settings here in the street food stalls, you feel as if you're very immersed in the culture when you're eating with the local people here, and they're very inclusive. As long as you've got a little bit of bravado about you, you can access the street food in Vietnam. You just have to kind of see what's going on. You can, I mean, normally you can see the assembly of the dish. You can see how the other people are eating, and if you show a little bit of interest in what people are eating, 9 times out of 10 they're going to say, "Here, have a taste." So it's just a really easy way to connect with the local people, I think, and feel included in the culture.
Hanoi is a city of 1,000 years of history, the gateway for the rest of Vietnam. Hanoi, the heart of Vietnam.